My name is Ali Barker, and I read geography at Oxford, and then I joined the prison service, and I've had a career working in prisons for 21 years, in all kinds of prisons, in all kinds of different roles, and working with ministers and policy officials at the Ministry of Justice, and then most recently working with a private sector company in that industry as well. So before I started uni, I wouldn't have guessed that I was going to join the prison service at all. So the A-levels I did were geography, biology, English lit and applied maths. And if you'd asked me what I was going to do when I was studying my A-levels, I'd have probably said that I was going to be a protester on Rainbow Warrior, the Greenpeace ship, because I was quite into environmental stuff. But through studying geography, I probably became a bit less interested in environmental issues and more interested in human issues and human geography. But I would say that the extracurricular things I did at university influenced my career as much as what I studied. So my thesis for geography was in the geography of mental health in Oxford. And that influenced my career choice quite a lot. But I also trained and volunteered with Nightline, the student listening service, and then I trained as a mental health advocate in the mental health hospitals in and around Oxford, and also as a mentor for young people in the area. So probably the extracurricular things that I did made me realise that I really liked working with people and I wanted to make a difference in people's lives. So it kind of just gripped me. So I joined the prison service and haven't really looked back. When you're a prison governor, you're in charge of the whole community of staff and prisoners that live and work in a prison. And every day is completely different. You're not quite sure what's going to happen each day, which is part of what I love about the role, that there's always kind of a fresh challenge. So you always have to kind of learn new things and then apply what you know about that to how you're going to manage that within the very specific and quite restricted setting of a prison. And prisons really only work with kind of cooperation of the staff and the prisoners. So engaging with people and understanding what their needs are and then kind of doing your best to meet their needs is really key to making a prison run effectively. And then kind of maintaining standards of how everything is delivered is really key part of that role as well. So specifically in terms of kind of security as well as decency and rehabilitation. And there's quite a number of performance targets and inspections to make sure that we're doing that. But as the governor, you should be making sure that you're doing that in your prison on a daily basis. This role involves bidding to run private prisons and immigration detention centres in competitions where the government is leasing contracts to run those centres. So it's kind of an opportunity to put all my kind of experience of 20 years working in prisons into kind of developing plans for kind of the most effective and kind of best use of money way to run prisons of the future. And so it's kind of working with partners, researching best practice around what works, and then having to condense that into a relatively succinct bid, really, given that we've got to describe how to kind of run a whole prison, and then editing to get it expressed in absolutely the right way. And along the way, presenting our proposals to the board within the company to get their agreement. And then also to the Ministry of Justice or the Home Office to kind of convince them and get their feedback about our ideas. So a whole range of skills. Partnership, because you can't do anything kind of on your own. Creativity, because having kind of original ideas and different ways of doing things is what's going to kind of capture things and more likely to win a bid. And then probably communication, because communicating it in written form and in a presentation and how you kind of get your message across is the key thing as well for the bid. It's critical to making our society safer. If we just lock people up, then the chances are that they're probably more likely than they were before they were locked up to keep committing crime, because by putting somebody in prison, they often lose their accommodation, they may lose employment, they might lose some of their support network. So obviously society will have decided that's what needs to happen as a punishment. But at the same time, we need to look to the future and make sure that we're giving them the tools to build a better, more positive life, to be a pro-social citizen. So during their time in prison, it's really important that we try and kind of build their social capital so that when they are released, hopefully they can have a sustainable home and a sustainable career, and also a really good positive support network. I've got to know Barbara Burton, who runs Behind Bars, over the time that I've been working with MTC, and she spent some time in prison herself, and did some study through that. She then kind of created her own business plan to set up her own initiative. And Behind Bras, the idea is to train women in the textiles industry, but not just the sewing element of it, the design element of it, the creative element of it, the marketing and the sales element of it, so that there's a whole host of different skills that women can have to enable them to then have employment, and then hopefully not reoffend in the future. And she has a great partnership with a textiles workshop in North London, which I went to visit, which is a great kind of production but also learning enterprise. There's a range of ways that people can join to work in prisons. So people can join as operational support grade, or as a prison officer, which are the two entry levels. And then there's also a graduate scheme. The prison service arranged and then sponsored me to do a master's in criminology, penology and management at Cambridge, which they generally have a scheme where people can apply to do that every year. But that was amazing. So just brilliant to kind of be funded to do further study in an area that's obviously related to the job. You can also, there's a lot of work in prisons and probation in less operational, more admin side of things. So working in finance or HR. So there's a whole range of roles. And the work, some of it would be, you can start off if you were interested, doing kind of temporary contract work over a summer period to kind of have a taster of doing it, and then apply to permanently do that if you were kind of really interested in it. And I think it's an amazing career because literally there's an opportunity to do something different and learn new stuff every single day. I think often the things that you do outside kind of key study are the things that help you grow as a person, but also when you're applying for jobs and different things, they perhaps help you stand out a bit more from other people, and bring something a bit unique. But I think helping you grow as a person and understand what you like and what's important to you is key in itself, because as well as kind of following what you enjoy, doing something that you really care about will also mean that you are always motivated to get out of bed and go and do that and give it your best. And those things kind of outside kind of your core study are where you'll discover what really matters to you, where you are choosing to invest your time. Definitely follow your passions, and study what you enjoy, because if you enjoy something, you're interested in it, it's less hard work. So you're more likely to kind of throw yourself into it, do really well, and then kind of through the journey of exploring that passion and learning along the way, you'll probably discover kind of your place, your vocation, where you can make a difference in the world. So I would definitely recommend that. And at the kind of point of doing A-levels and even doing your degree, I would not worry too much about where you're going to end up, but just kind of go with what you enjoy and discover along the way, because there isn't necessarily a set path. And I think I kind of, always keep doing that along the way as well, in terms of once you're in your career, kind of follow what you enjoy and opportunities will arise, I think, that make the best use of your skills and your strengths.